For more than 180 years, sailors have braved these waters, and in the depths lie reminders of how dangerous the Great Lakes can be. Literary greats have documented their power and expanse. Dismasting blasts as direful as any that lash the salted wave. They know what shipwrecks are. They have drowned full of many a midnight ship with all its shrieking crew. Despite the dangers, the Great Lakes draw millions. For some, they remain a source of income. Others make them a destination for fun. And many are drawn to the lake's beauty, legends, and history. And each day, as the dawn breaks to the east over Lakes Huron and Erie, the day awakens to the possibility of a new Great Lakes adventure.
Welcome to this WZZM 13 High Definition Special. I'm Lee Vanamede.
And I'm Juliet Dragos. We're along the shores of Lake Michigan at Muskegon State Park, and these dunes make up 1,600 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline.
Coming up, we'll take you on a tour of Michigan lighthouses. We'll take you to a unique town that's trying to preserve its history, its past of fishing. Also, we're going to take you to the very top of the Mackinac Bridge.
It's a journey of photographic excellence brought to you in high definition, meaning sharper video, color, and sound, a first-of-a-kind special for West Michigan.
Our adventure begins with an icon of the Great Lakes. Lighthouses saved countless lives in the early years of shipping, but in the end, these historic lights couldn't save themselves.
As WZZM 13's backpack journalist John Mills shows us, new age light keepers are stepping in to keep the lights shining.
When a new day's light breaks the horizon across our state, there's a good chance it falls first on a lighthouse. These brick, stone, and mortar towers are street signs of a day gone by, giving mariners a sense of location on a body of water so big it could be easy to drift off course and into danger. With more lighthouses than any other state, this, the Great Lakes State, could be called the Lighthouse State. From Big Red in Holland, up the lake to Grand Haven, further north to Little Sable Point, and at the tip of the mitt in Mackinac. Most are easy to see, but not all.
You have land-based lighthouses, you have island-based lighthouses, you have pier-based lighthouses. So the whole mix is right here in the state of Michigan.
Some of the most impressive lights lie offshore,
Redwood to the west.
built on dangerous reefs and shoals.
The last chance to say goodbye to civilization.
The term lighthouse keeper has taken on a whole new meaning for people like Dick Mole. A retired investment banker, his Shuppler's Lighthouse cruise from Mackinac takes you up close to the seldom seen.
This was a rotating lens.
With most of the lights now automated, Dick's work is educational, focused on saving these icons of Michigan's history.
We would like to be able to retrieve any of the artifacts.
Over 4,000 visitors will take a trip this summer, making stops at Gray's Reef. This light replaced an original built on a dangerous shoal before the turn of the century. The crumbling Waugoshant Shoal light.
So it's really sort of one of a kind.
Its history includes a gloomy tale of hauntings from the disappearance of an assistant lighthouse keeper after a practical joke, and in the shallow waters of the Manitou Passage.
The last time it was painted, it was about the year 2000.
The diagonal red and white stripes of the White Shoal Lighthouse.
The red part of the building, first layer, is the equipment room.
Familiar because of its likeness on a popular state license plate.
Thank you again for coming aboard.
When the final question is answered,
Good to see you. Thanks for doing this.
the final passenger departed. Dick heads back out, setting a course to his full-time hobby. It's waiting west out of Mackinac, past the bridge and 7 miles out into a churning Lake Michigan. That's where a tiny spine of rock rises out of the lake and is home to the St. Helena Island Light Station. What began in 1989 as a weekend work trip by Boy Scouts from Troop 4 in Ann Arbor is now an annual pilgrimage. This lighthouse and the rock that supports it, a sort of holy land.
And this was simply a mission to try to do some cleanup work and restoration work. But here we are in 2006, and we're working on our 17th and 18th Eagle Scout service project here at the light station. We restored the privy, we restored the oil house, we restored and rebuilt the assistant keeper's dwelling. It'll be all spiffed up.
Saved from years of neglect and vandalism, what was left of the light station was scheduled to be destroyed. Instead, the Great Lakes Lighthouse Keepers Association made one big request.
To legislatively transfer the St. Helena Island Light Station from the Coast Guard to the Great Lakes Lighthouse Keepers. And make a long story short, it worked.
And thus the start of an extensive and costly effort to bring back every detail, and at the same time giving these willing volunteers a chance to obtain Eagle Scout status. Nick Yates will accomplish it by designing and building this lifeboat ramp.
It was just on the list of things to do, and I thought it was a really cool project because it's actually something you'll see and that will be here for a really long time. Your friends here all working together, doing something that helps out the community.
Along with Nick's project, St. Helena is being fitted with new copper gutters, sanded, painted, and cleaned. Restoration from the water to high atop the tower. Dick hopes the efforts by Scouts and others shine some light of its own, one that illuminates what can be done when people pull together to preserve a part of our Great Lakes history.
These guys are it, huh? And they've done a fantastic job.
We are a new generation that will help restore them.
I know not all of us are gonna come out and try to restore lighthouses, but I know a lot of us will.
And when a long day's work is over,
You got it? Yep. One, two, three.
there's no better place for a Scout to unwind and take it all in than on your own island and with your own friends. It wasn't an easy life for the lighthouse keeper. It was hard work living on the island and keeping the light shining. But if beauty paid the bills, the keepers who called St. Helena home were rich.
So you had a nifty residence, a nifty job, and you got paid very little, but nevertheless I think it was a very prestigious job.
And though this and most other lights are now automated, bulbs even replace themselves when they burn out. Dick says it's good to see and hear new life on the island, experiencing a glimpse of what used to be, even if for only a short time each summer.
I'm not sure if I'm going to any other lighthouses, but I'm definitely coming back here because this is like the coolest trip ever.
I think that they are very important to guide ships, and I think that they're an important part of Michigan's history.
They were here and they've saved multiple lives.
And so if the lights and the towers that lift them to the sky are to be enjoyed by future generations, it may be thanks in part to the efforts of Dick and the Boy Scouts from Troop 4.
We've had some people call it the miracle of the Straits of Mackinac, and it truly is.
In the next 5 years, a handful of lighthouses could be sold by the federal government. Dick spends much of his time meeting with groups interested in saving those targeted lighthouses.
You can see more about this story and all the stories in this special by going online at WZZM13.com.
There are so many unique destinations along Lake Michigan.
Many are a testimony to the natural beauty and history of Michigan.
Coming up, our Great Lakes adventure takes us to a place where the most popular thing to do is nothing at all. Plus, we'll visit the home of a legendary bear and an endangered bird.
Today, most of us are moving at a very fast pace. We live non-stop lives with non-stop entertainment. One Michigan island offers none of that, yet continues to draw in millions.
So what is the real mystery of Mackinac Island? We got the answer from some of the people who know it best.
The nautical bleep signals the start of a journey unlike any in the state, a departure from modern time.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome aboard Starline's LaSalle.
The ferry pulls into the Straits of Mackinac, a glittering plume cast down on sparkling white-capped waves, the lake's own version of fairy dust.
It's just an attraction that the kids love to see the rooster tail, and it brings a lot of people to the boat line because of the rooster tail.
As the mainland port fades, distant trees appear. Buildings emerge from the tree-covered limestone bluffs, old-fashioned cottages made of cedar and clapboard, the 19th century Grand Hotel. And just 20 minutes from the mainland, the vessel reaches its destination. Vacationers flow from the docks to the main street where the ticking of time transforms. With a fleet of more than 300 horses, taxis take on a different pace. The soothing rhythm transports tourists from dock to destination. With a ban on automobiles, the only other means of getting anywhere is manpower, on foot or on wheels.
Girls.
While some prefer bikes, many say the horses are what spurs tourists.
Takes them back to the old days, where not everything's all fast-paced, motorized. You can just lay back, take it easy, take your time. Amazingly enough, the flowers do very well here. I think it has something to do with the horses. There's about 10,000 pounds of manure produced on the island a day. There's also about 10,000 pounds of fudge. But every other store is a fudge shop, like there's a fudge shop.
Others say it's this sweet tradition kept through time that brings people to the island. Murdoch's was the first to offer fudge.
The way I have been told is Henry Murdoch came here back in 1887 from Germany. We have good conditions here with the air. It just became a tradition over the years. We've had the same recipe since 1887, same style, same recipe, everything. We haven't changed it one bit.
At the end of Main Street, vacationers pause at a moment of history well preserved along a high bluff overlooking the straits. It's a scene where time stands still. Inside, time ticks back more than 100 years. Fort Mackinac and its original buildings are a living history lesson.
That's the school. It's called the Post Schoolhouse.
When the pin is pulled, it will spark.
Ready, fire!
Things like the brass on our swords and the sword itself, the buckles that we have, a few of the brass in the helmets, those are all original things that we're still trying to keep in our programming. Even the rifles we fire are original rifles from the 1870s.
I think the allure of the island really brings people, the idea that you can kind of step back in time.
For many overnight guests, the temptation of time travel includes a stop at this island showplace, the Grand Hotel. It's a place where schedules cease. Unlike modern resorts, it's not the pool or the golf course that draws visitors. The real attraction is a comfortable seat, and seats are everywhere.
660 feet long, and that makes us the world's longest porch. And it's a great way to relax and spend your afternoon. You can sit out here, read your book, have a drink, and you know, if you look down there, there's probably a few people nodding off there.
And inside, a foyer of laid-back luxury lures guests with the promise of an old-fashioned tea and soothing string. For a soothing rest that combines lapping waves, dozens of other places offer sanctuary. Flowers and picket fences frame historic homes turned vacation retreats. It's yet another picture of earlier times and relaxation.
It's the getting away, it's the slowing down, it's the beauty, it's the history, it's the peace. The water, it's all around. That's where the magic really is.
The true lure is indeed the combination of natural island beauty and historic tradition. Mackinac Island is a vacation from the fast pace of real life. Here, thrill seekers navigate horse-filled streets. Visitors just gamble on the weather, and the water park is one of the largest in the world. And even nature sits in awe of the amazing sights the island has to offer. This is the true magic of Mackinac.
Now to an area that's within a day's drive of major Midwestern cities. Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore spans 35 miles of Michigan's Lower Peninsula.
WZZM 13's Jennifer Pasqua and photojournalist Ken Ritz journey to this park, which was established primarily for its natural features.
In a time when the world seems so chaotic, these glistening waters whet the appetite of visitors who are taking time to appreciate the soothing sounds, stillness, and beauty of nature. The roads to be traveled here take many turns. Some lead to new life and change, while others point to the past. The legend of Sleeping Bear has been passed down from generation to generation. It's believed the Ojibwe tribe of Michigan were the first to tell the tale of a mother bear and her 2 cubs, and their attempt to swim across the lake to flee a forest fire in Wisconsin. The mother bear makes it and waits patiently on the shore, but her cubs never arrive. So she lays down, forming what looks like a big lump on top of the dune. And the Great Spirit takes pity on her and raises her cubs up from the depths, forming North and South Manitou Islands. Today's sand dunes are considered a fragile environment. Wind and water lead to constant movement, constant change. The immensity leaves visitors silenced in amazement.
Photographs just don't do it any justice. You can't get the depth of how far down this is. You have to really see it in person and appreciate, what the glaciers did. We've been out here a few years ago. It's still just amazing every time you come see it.
It's that sense of awe directing many to the path to Perch Dunes. For some, it's a family affair. Others climb to seek solitude. And then there are those lured here to learn.
The glacier left a lot of soil down below, and the sand is just above. So some people have broken bones here because they think they're running in sand and it's hard packed.
Some dunes are worth a long look. Others are worth climbing.
Is it a great exercise?
This dune climb never closes, giving even the youngest visitor a chance to see how their will stands up against the drifts. So steep, so unstable, so exciting.
Sometimes it's tough, and sometimes when you have the energy, you can just go straight up.
Just as stimulating is the Pierce-Stocking Scenic Drive Tour.
This is majestic, isn't it?
A breathtaking look out.
Beautiful.
To what some are surprised to admit is a place they never knew about.
It's hard to believe we're in the middle of the continental USA.
Raymond and his wife are vacationing from Detroit. He says this charming, picturesque scene looks a lot like areas in western and southern France.
And this is very reminiscent of back home, where I spent my childhood in the sand dunes and right by the beaches, overlooking the Atlantic. And it's hard to believe when you look at the size of the lake that this is just a lake. This is not an ocean. It's gorgeous.
A 10-minute drive down from the dunes. An impressive sight, rarely seen.
Mother, 3 chicks, and the dad, they're all there. I guess, the fact that there's so few of them makes them really special. If you look down there, you see where there's like a branch that's kind of bent over. They're a little bit this side of that.
Alice is the park's only full-time piping plover monitor.
Last summer we had 58 nests in all of the Great Lakes.
It's her job to keep track of the shorebirds to help ensure their existence.
We check on them, find out where they are, count them, make sure everything's going okay for them.
Camouflaged amidst the dry sand, the downy beach nesting birds are hard to follow.
See any chicks?
Yes, I see one.
There you go.
Right on the bottom.
Endangered species.
Oh,
right there.
But Alice hopes this admiration from afar will arouse more interest long after this moment passes.
Yeah, this is pretty special.
As is this boat trip away from the dunes. Across to South Manitou, an area that's still part of the vast park.
The Manitou Passage was the main highway before there were any roads or railroads or anything else. All life happened on the water.
At 5,000 acres, it's 3 times smaller than North Manitou.
People can get out here and hike on here and be relatively by themselves or their family and just enjoy the island. They are really unique.
Especially on this side, a spot where only private boaters and divers can glimpse, up close, underwater treasures.
And they can dive, they just can't take anything. You know, everything's protected, but it's a trip through history. There are waves, you know, 6 to 8 feet high sometimes. And that's why there were so many shipwrecks, is that the weather can change very easily over the Great Lakes and catch boaters off guard.
That's what happened to the Walter L. Frost, a wooden steamer similar to this one. Ran aground back in 1905, you can still see the ship beneath the surface.
You wouldn't know from looking at the water right now, but this can be incredibly turbulent.
55 years later, the Francisco Morazan literally landed on top of the wreck during a storm in 1960. It's the most visible of all shipwrecks around the island. Less than a dozen people were on board the Francisco Morazan, and all survived the short swim to shore.
This was the main drag. This was the interstate highway. Hundreds and hundreds of ships, people in every mode of transportation on the water came through here.
And that continues decades later as thousands come out to awaken their senses, experiencing life on, in, and around this body of water. A lake dripping with stories, ones worth telling for years to come.
Did you know that the off-white sands along Lake Michigan beaches are called singing sands?
Yeah, it's because of the squeaking sound that's often made when you walk along the beach. That sound, Lee, is made by quartz in our sand, which squeaks when compressed.
We all know that lakes can churn up enormous amounts of snow, but did you know they have a great impact on other seasons as well?
So powerful, they have helped grow an industry of agriculture, but that's not without conflict.
Our Great Lakes adventure travels next north to wine country for a look at the battle brewing between farmland and tourism.
Lake Michigan is one of the largest lakes in the world, at its deepest point 900 feet below the surface, and it has a vast power to influence climate, from churning up snow to cooling springs and warming the autumns.
And the result is a unique agricultural zone where fruits flourish in lush farmland, but that beauty is under attack. WZZM 13's Peter Ross and photojournalist Jim Sutton show us this lakeside conflict.
Most see only the surface waters of Lake Michigan. Little different in their eyes from the smaller bodies of water that dot West Michigan, where families can find a quiet retreat from busy lives in the cities. Water skiing, fishing, enjoying warm summer days and cool evening breezes. But the big lake offers a vast bounty to the land.
Only California grows more variety of crops.
The lake has an effect on the earth in West Michigan, an Eden where virtually anything grows.
Vineyard workers will be out here today.
Don Coe knows. He is a farmer and winemaker.
We need hillsides for air drainage and south and west slopes.
Who farms the gentle breezes and warm, sunny summers to create liquid gold. Eau de vie, the water of life. Brandies from cherries and pears, but also wine from grapes. A wealth created by the temperate shores of the lake.
It's a phenomenon created primarily by the lake effect, the west shore of Michigan, where we have lake effect.
Walk through any farmer's market and you'll see just a fraction of the bounty. Cherries, apples, corn, flowers, and even wheat for bread.
So we have all of the infrastructure in place, weather and climate conditions and growing conditions, and a farm community that can help farming to thrive.
But rural life in Michigan is facing a crisis, victimized by its own image of peace and tranquility.
Some of the biggest issues right now is housing, affordable housing for families in the county.
We're hoping to keep the Mauling of America somewhere else.
The land is of a high enough value right now here in Leelanau County that farmers can't afford to buy it.
The needs of rural Michigan are different from Detroit and the state's other big cities. In Leelanau County, farming is a struggling way of life. But a way of life that is also attractive to tourists and summer visitors. Trudy Gala is with the Leelanau County Planning and Community Development Department.
Farming is a big economic area for Leelanau County, and it attracts a lot of tourism. We have a lot of wineries, a lot of cherry farms and so forth. And some of the concerns is that the owners, of course, are getting up there in age. They may not have children or grandchildren who are around or willing to take on the farm. And just the cost of trying to maintain the farm, the equipment and so forth.
The rising cost of land is the biggest threat. As Leelanau's popularity as a quaint getaway soars, so do land prices. Look at the summer homes along Lake Leelanau. Homes that offer the perfect getaway, an almost ideal escape, but at a cost that is only a dream to most families.
$850,000.
That's $850,000, the average price for a home in Leland Township. Too expensive for a working family to make a living. Too expensive for a neighboring farmer trying to grow and expand his acreage. Too expensive for any use but homes. David Chauncey Shiflett is a real estate agent and a Leelanau County Commissioner. He sees firsthand the growing popularity of Leelanau County.
It was a pretty quiet spring, but I'm having the best year I've ever had, so that's good news. But I can attribute that to about a handful of clients that I've worked with that are investors that are investing in the area from elsewhere, and they're making long-term investments. So we feel Northwest Michigan is being discovered by other people out of state.
Great-great-uncles, great-great-great-great-great-uncles go way back.
Cherry farmer Jim Bardenhagen also experiences firsthand the pressure of land prices on farmers.
So those who want to expand can't expand. They're going elsewhere to buy land.
As director of the Michigan State University's County Extension Office in Leelanau County, Bardenhagen is trying to help other farmers to keep their operations alive.
And we want to preserve the farmer. That's the key as well. But we've got to find businesses that will generate enough income to keep him going. I think our average age of farmers in this county is probably 55. And this is one of the reasons why we really want to have a vibrant farmland preservation program, because we're concerned about the transfer to the next generation.
Part of the effort to save farmland is a voter initiative to raise taxes in Leelanau County and to use that money to buy the developmental rights from the farmers. The farmer agrees to keep the land in farming, and if they sell the property, it can only be sold to another farmer.
And it provides them with cash to either retire and have someone else farm the land or for them to continue farming it.
But there is also a movement to help farmers to improve their income by taking lessons from corporate culture.
What we do is we say farming, particularly in the area of value-added farming, is not just the growing of something, it's the growing, the processing, the retailing, and the marketing of those products all on the farm to add income at every step in that process for the farmer.
Don Coe is the managing partner of Black Star Farms, a winery and distillery created when Coe retired after 30 years in the corporate world.
What we're looking at here are grapes that have come into what we call Verizon, which is the first clustering of grapes in our vineyards. Looking at this fruit, it's beautiful fruit this year. We've had a nice early spring. We escaped any early frost damage, and the vines are as healthy as we have ever seen them.
Coe's model for Black Star may be the solution for farmers and for Leelanau County. It is a great vineyard and winery, but it is so much more.
We're an agricultural destination, so we do a lot of things on this farm. When we purchased this property, it was a dormant horse farm. So the first thing we did was reopen the equestrian facilities. The farm, like many farms, had a very large house on the property, and that property now has been converted into an 8-room luxury bed and breakfast inn, which attracts visitors last year from 40 different states and 20 different countries. We have a winery, which was our primary purpose, and a fruit brandy distillery. We have a creamery. We make cheese here on the farm. We have orchards and vineyards, and we are a agricultural attraction and bring in about 60,000 visitors a year to our property.
Coe is teaching other farmers how to add value to their crops. A neighbor who once sold his pears for a penny apiece now sells a unique pear grown in a bottle. It is not a penny pear. This fruit magically turned into a $5 pear for use in Coe's distillery.
And so we went into the orchard and we said to Mike, we're going to tie bottles onto the tree. Now he thought we were absolutely crazy. Why would you tie bottles onto a tree? But what we did is we went into the orchard right after bud break when the first tiny fruit was appearing on the branch, and it was very small, and we trimmed the branch and just left a single tiny little pear at the end of the branch. And then the branch was inserted into the bottle, and the bottle was tied up into the tree. So we now have a bottle tied into the tree, and the pear is growing in the bottle.
The pear inside the bottle swims in pear brandy, also made from the farmer's pears. A true lesson in value farming. No longer is the pear only a penny to the farmer. He now receives about $9 a bottle for his fruit. The federal alcohol tax adds $1.14, and the state of Michigan's adds its share $27 a bottle. And Coe's distillery makes its own profit. Consider it a win for everyone. For you to enjoy the experience, add it all up, $60 a bottle. These lessons in marketing, value, and cooperation are being learned, and new vineyards are being planted in Leelanau County. It ensures a future, not just for the farm, but also for a way of life in a corner of Michigan that grows with the water, the sun, and the breezes off the big lake.
That's what Leelanau County is all about, is the rolling hills and the cherry orchards and the farmland.
Long before the orchards, this area was known for fishing.
And one town in Leelanau County is working to preserve that tradition. Weathered shanties line wooden boardwalks as water gently laps against the sides of aging fishing tugs. This small village along the Lake Michigan shoreline preserves a piece of Michigan's past.
We're the last surviving commercial fishermen in this port. It's long hours and it's hard work, but it's worth it. You know, it's what we do. It's kind of our way of life.
Bill Carlson is a fourth-generation Michigan fisherman, descended from the Dutch and Swedish immigrants who moved to North Manitou Island in the 1870s.
When the mainland got settled in the early 1900s, they moved to the mainland and here in Leland continued their life's work of farming and fishing.
Carlson won't let go of his ancestry or the town's past.
I started purchasing the property in the 70s and rebuilding the buildings one by one, thinking there may be some future in Fishtown being a historic site and housing some other businesses that would help us maintain Fishtown in its historic tradition.
Anchored by the Carlson fishery, Fishtown has become a haven for tourists with shops and restaurants, but never far from its fishing roots.
But instead of having 8 commercial fishing boats fishing for the commercial catch, we now have 10 charter boats along with 3 commercial boats that catch fish for the public, and the charter boats take people out on fishing trips.
Me and my dad, we had a really big one, this one.
Brian Murphy is part of the reason why Fishtown and Leland remain popular today.
We're gonna smoke them and like grill them so we can eat them.
And they're smoked whitefish.
The Carlsons have built their business processing the fish caught by tourists, but they also sell tons of fish to visitors who don't go out on the boats.
Well, we probably move through about 10,000 pounds of fish a week here in our little market. That includes our fresh fish and our smoked fish, and so there's a lot of fishing processing going on. Thanks so much.
But Carlson's hope for Fishtown goes beyond his own family's success.
Our plan is to have Fishtown preserved forever. And you don't do that by having it in an individual's ownership, because you never can determine what's going to happen in the future, either with that individual or who he hands it down to.
Rick Lehman is part of a group called the Fishtown Preservation Society that's trying to raise $2.5 million to buy Fishtown from the Carlson family to preserve the town for future generations.
Fishtown has a large selection of stores, everything from a shoe store and reflections with nautical artwork, boat models, a candy store, a very popular cheese shop, makes sandwiches every day. The clothing store here features tug stuff, which has a logo of one of our fish boat tugs that really make people recognize Leland and Fishtown.
You can see pictures of Leland as it developed, and if you look at some of these older pictures of Fishtown, you'll see they're very similar to what you see today.
A look and feel of stepping back in time is history preserved, the way Bill Carlson has preserved, nurtured, and developed Fishtown.
We take a look at the modern lure of fishing on the Big Lakes.
That is when we come right back. So far, our adventure has focused on places near Michigan's Great Lakes.
It's time now to get out on the water to see that Great Lakes fishing is still a destination of its own. And photojournalist Bob Gould takes a look at the sights and sound of a unique team of fishermen. Nearing the break of dawn at Great Lakes Marina in Muskegon, a group of eager anglers anticipate an awesome day of fishing on Lake Michigan.
So you gotta get your rod up really high. I mean, really high.
The old saying goes, the early bird gets the worm, but today the early worm gets the fish.
It's 6 o'clock and we're gonna leave the dock here in about 15 minutes and we can start fishing at 7 o'clock. The salmon feed best in the morning. They haven't fed all night.
Captain Brian Butts has been a charter boat captain for 5 years, but has been fishing the Great Lakes since 1974.
We're gonna fish the ladies and kids tournament. The goal today is to catch 5 big fish.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're gonna catch some fish.
We're ready to go.
My name is Holly and I'm going fishing with Brian here and my daughter, and we're in a tournament and we're gonna catch some fish.
Right now, I'm kind of nervous because I've never been in a tournament before at all. I've went fishing once or twice. That's pretty much it. So I really want to catch a big fish.
Well, my name's Amanda. I'm the girlfriend of Brian, and I've been fishing with Brian for the past 4 years. So I'm what you could say somewhat of a veteran fishing in the ladies tournament.
As the sun peaks above the horizon, the women get a short lesson from Brian's dad, Terry.
Don't go down and stop. As soon as you stop that net, then it's going to drag back. And it drags back, the fish is going to get into the hook. You're probably going to lose it.
Because I know that it'll just be hitting all around. We'll be swinging the net, and it'll just be total chaos. But we'll do it.
We're about a minute from taking off right now. Then we're gonna have about a 4-mile run, and then we'll be setting rods.
Hey, this is awesome. I'm ready to go. A little bumpy, but hey, it's the fun part.
Terry sets the line.
It's on! I think he's gone. Yeah, he's gone.
We missed it. That was too small anyway. Yeah, we're waiting for the big ones. I saw that thing wiggling too. I don't know why I didn't do something about it.
An early miss, but a short time later.
Okay, here we are. Here we go. Am I moving at all? I don't think I'm moving at all. He changed his mind. He's swimming toward the boat instead of away.
The key to reeling it in is steady pressure.
Oh man, my arm is burning. Jeez.
And in some cases, us girls, we do better with this than sometimes guys do.
How far have I got to go?
While Holly works this fish, the crew sees a second fish on.
Oh, no, you're right, Nicole.
Here, Amanda, take it. It's got to be released. Release it. Get him, honey.
Oh, I lost him.
No, you don't get it. Good job.
One fish in, but Holly's still working on hers.
You want me to get the net? I sure hope my arm doesn't fall off. He's not coming easy.
That's good. That means hopefully he's a big one. A big one.
Come on. Hold on, Nicole, back up.
After a nearly 10-minute struggle.
Oh.
No, he's gone. Busted him off.
Oh. Well, how's yours? Oh, my arm. Man, there's one. That's a disappointment. But hey, we still got time.
We'll just have to hope for another one. Bigger yet.
Fish on!
Fish on! That fish is going out.
Realizing that he's caught and he's angry and he's just grumpy and wants to go.
Here, I'll help you with it.
Nice one.
All right.
There it is. That's beauty. Oh, yeah.
All right, Nicole. Woo-hoo.
Oh, there's a fatty. Whoa.
Beauty.
There it is.
All right. Woo. Very energizing. You're ready for another one. It's good. It's really good.
I'm ready for another fish. But yeah, belly's good. No seasickness going on.
I love the water, and I like the excitement of seeing a fish hit and seeing the customers catch their first fish.
Okay, help me out.
A lot of kids, and
I think she does. She has a little fish on.
you know, they've never seen a fish this big as we're going to catch today.
All right, cool. I was just reeling it in, and I'm like, whoa.
All right, catch 5.
Got our five. Oh, man. Sit on him, Nicole. Sit on him.
We're on call in the morning. We got to be in by noon.
Yeah, we caught 14 fish today, and that's a good day. And that's actually a really good day. But everybody acts a little disappointed because we didn't catch a real big one.
It was a lot of fun. It was disappointing at the first one, seeing that big fish go away. But you know, then we caught some fish and started bringing them in and got a nice little selection here. But it was a good time.
We are heading to the weigh-in. We're going to see what the fish gods have dealt us weight-wise. 49.10 pounds.
And while this team didn't take the $1,000 prize today, they do leave with a fishtail they won't soon forget, which will likely include the big one that got away.
Oh, he's gone. Lost him off.
Oh.
Over the last 2 decades, non-native fish, plants, and mussels have changed Great Lakes fishing and water quality.
And despite the efforts to stop these foreign invaders, many are now well established. WZZM 13 science reporter Linda Page looks at the unique approach to getting these foreign invaders.
Tom Madish has been making this trip since he was a child. Up the Muskegon Lake Channel, out toward Lake Michigan.
This is what we used to catch perch with. Like I told you, used to catch is the...
But now, when Tom puts his line on the water, perch is not the fish he hooks.
There we go. There's a goby.
Tom goes after the gobies,
Ooh.
one by one.
Whoa, there's a big one. Some of them hit like freight trains.
A team of Grand Valley State University researchers are going after gobies in a larger sense. This study is trying to determine why round gobies thrive in lake environments.
And these nets were set out yesterday, and they've been out for about 24 hours, and we're gonna what we call pull the nets out of the water, and we'll look and see what fish we caught, and we will measure and count all the different species of fish we have. Does it matter which nets we start pulling?
Doctors Carl Reitz, Don Uzarski, and their students catch both native species.
And that is a map turtle. Rock bass. We seem to have quite a few in this net.
And invasive species.
Just about everything that floats into the net will have zebra mussels attached to them. Zebra mussels do clear the water, and people will sometimes think that's a good thing, and it's simply not, because what it's doing, what the zebra mussels are doing, they're filtering about 1 liter of water per individual per day. And this is a round goby that's about 7.8 centimeters. This is pretty typical for the size that we catch.
Round gobies are so well established. One study done in western Lake Erie estimated 9.9 billion in that area of the lake alone.
I mean, that would be nice to get rid of round gobies, but right now, as scientists, I don't think we have any idea how you could achieve that.
This one got shoulders.
While the round goby has no doubt changed the Great Lakes, some fear this small fish is nothing compared to another threat lurking outside our waters. Asian carp have moved up the Mississippi River and into the Illinois. They are now miles away from the Great Lakes. An electrical barrier near Chicago could be the only way to stop the spread.
We really don't know what will happen. Asian carp are more of a river species, so there's some question about whether or not they thrive in the Great Lakes, but there's definitely the potential for them to thrive in many of the rivers that connect to the Great Lakes.
If these carp do make it into Michigan lakes and streams, their massive eating potential makes them a major threat. Some fear they could become the dominant species.
I would argue we hopefully will never find out what that effect would be.
So as science continues in an attempt to better understand how foreign fish are taking hold in our waters, Tom Madish is keeping an eye on the fishing.
I just want my lake back, that's all.
One species of fish not native to Michigan but still considered a success is salmon.
Chinook and coho salmon were introduced in the 1960s when the trout population declined. Now salmon are critical to sport fishing in the state. You may remember for 2 weeks back in early 1998, there were 6 Great Lakes.
Under a bill signed by President Clinton, Lake Champlain briefly became a Great Lake, which helped with federal research and funding. But after an uproar from those of us in Great Lakes states, Lake Champlain was taken off the Great Lakes list.
Whether you're on the water, on land, or on the road, the Mackinac Bridge offers fantastic views.
But imagine what it would look like from above.
Up next, the Mackinac Bridge like you've never seen. We climb the steel towers all the way to the top for one of the best views in Michigan.
Beautiful day.
After 2 years of construction, the Mackinac Bridge opened in November of 1957.
And 50 years later, it is still one of our state's most recognizable landmarks, but few will ever have the view our camera was able to capture. Here once again is WZZM 13 backpack photojournalist John Mills.
Hi there. Welcome to the Mackinac Bridge.
Nearly 2 million vehicles will cross the Mackinac Bridge this year.
Hi there, 250. All righty, you have a nice day today. Thank you.
To and from Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas.
Have a good trip across the bridge today.
The mighty Mac has fallen to the world's third longest suspension bridge, but its beauty remains tops for Michiganders.
Enough wire in both cables to go around the world about 1 2/3 times.
Whether the view is from underneath,
The wire is about the size of a small knitting needle.
or from the shore,
The bridge and the towers are not attached.
it's said to be Michigan's most photographed landmark. Just crossing the bridge is a thrill worth experiencing.
It gets tighter on the inside.
But a select few experience even more, like Mike Litzner.
I work maintenance.
To him, the adventure is up this small elevator.
I would say about 3 by 4.
Along a tight corridor.
It's like being in a submarine.
Hand over hand and out to a view few will ever see.
The biggest awe is when you step out of the hatch right here and see how high up you are. Down to the deck would be about 380 feet.
And beyond that, over 500 feet to the Straits of Mackinac.
Right now we're on the South Tower, and over here to the south is Mackinac City, Wilderness State Park. This is the city of St. Ignace on the north end. This is Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, off here to the east. A little bit of a hazy day.
This deck high above the bridge isn't just for looking, it's where workers come to check cables, change bulbs, and work on the never-ending job of painting.
A lot of people are surprised at how roomy it is up here. We have the nice handrails.
Mike says workers need to leave their fear of high places on the ground.
One of the interview questions was, are you afraid of heights? Well, naturally, if you're afraid of heights, you're not going to get the job. So the answer was, no, I'm not afraid of heights. So it took about probably 3 days to get used to it. And I think the claw mark scratches are still in the paint from when I climbed over.
And though he may be used to working at what seems to be the edge of the world, he says the view is always a new experience.
It is spectacular. We consider it the icon of Michigan.
An icon from all angles and at all times of the day. An engineering marvel bridging the gap to make our state one.
Our Great Lakes adventure continues with a unique story.
Did you know Michigan was home to the only non-military boat that has its own zip code? We'll tell you why it's necessary next. We're now going to travel east. This is where many of the freighters traveling the Great Lakes get their mail.
How the deliveries happen is a really interesting story, and it's brought to us by our news partner, the Detroit Free Press.
What other mail or packages do you have available?
We've got 2 pails coming aboard and a stamp order and a chart.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm Sam Buchanan. I'm the senior captain at the J.W. Westcott Company here in Detroit, Michigan. We provide the U.S. mail delivery to the Great Lakes freighters that come up and down the Detroit River. We provide that service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the navigation season. Well, we've been in business here at Westcott since 1874, and the delivery methods have changed over the years. They used to actually row out to the ships in the old days, and we'd toss a line up and the ship would tie them on and pull them alongside. In 1948, the Postal Service decided to contract out the delivery of mail here on the river. And the Westcott Company was one of the companies that bid the contract. Captain Westcott had decided that Detroit, being the last place before Lake Erie, would be a very good place to have these communications between the vessels and the owners delivered. He started first with those and then mail, and later on the company grew and grew over the years.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Good. Got a little bit for you.
Every vessel on the Great Lakes has its own mail slot, so we sort the mail, and then throughout the day we will receive other deliveries from UPS, Federal Express. We also get several mail deliveries a day, and then mixed within the mix here we will also be servicing vessels as they go by. It was the first vessel ever issued a zip code in 1963, and that zip code is 48222. It's unique. It's the only non-military vessel to actually have a zip code. When we're coming alongside a ship, it's like merging into traffic. You got to find where you want to be and then slowly ease it on over.
Yeah, this is a good-sized boat coming.
Done it already. Okay. Some of them slow down, most of them do, some don't. Either way, it can be intimidating. Thank you.
Take care, have a safe trip.
It can be a real rush depending on how fast they're going now. It's certainly exciting. In today's world, so many companies want to make a profit on everything that they do, and we don't run our business from that standpoint. We run it more on we're here to provide a service.
Have a good one.
It makes us feel pretty special that we can be there for people.
Up next, a look at how people around our state are enjoying the Great Lakes lifestyle.
And you can find more on all the topics featured in this special by going to WZZM13.com. Click on Great Lakes Adventure in the table of contents, and we'll be right back. Now we're going to take a final look at how the lakes create a unique lifestyle for many.
Here again is photojournalist Bob Gould.
Well, this sure is a nice spot to live in Grand Haven. We're basically in the woods and really close to town. Nature is at its best here at this location. My name is Jeannie Coppola. We're at the southeast corner of my house. And at this corner, there are lots of woods. Keeps the house cool in the summer. I live here with my husband, Michael, my 18-year-old son, Christopher, and my 1-year-old English setter, Buck Wild. We've been living in this house for 12 years now. We moved from Connecticut 13 years ago. And this is our lower deck, and we're due west. This is the front of the house, which many people call the back of the house, but we call the front of the house. And out there is Lake Michigan in all its glory. It's a beautiful day, probably in the mid-80s. It's always great looking out on the view, no matter what time of day or what time of year it is. Well, it's a lot of exercise. Always easier going down than coming back up. Just a perfect day. The water's really warm. It's a wonderful walk on the beach. not really level. It's always best to have your sandals or your shoes off because oftentimes you'll get wet with the waves. This area that we live in, we are the only full-time residents here. Hi, how you doing? Good, good. Yeah, you walking? Your daily walk?
I didn't walk so far today because I didn't tell my wife that I was going walking.
Oh.
And then she worries.
Well, I don't blame her. You need to tell her.
So
Don't go too far. There's always people walking, running along here, even in the dead of winter. It's a lot different than the East Coast, although where we are right now, our home is situated in sand dunes, very much like something that you would see out in Cape Cod or Nantucket. That's the Grand Haven Pier. It's a channel that comes out of Grand Haven Harbor, I guess. People walk the pier 365 days out of the year. We've had our tragedies here. People think they can walk out there on a day where it's really windy and there's big waves, and people have died. It's very sad, but we try to educate our young students that they do need to respect the Great Lakes, because one minute it can be a beautiful day and the next minute a wind can come up and not be so nice. I sure consider myself lucky in my family that we're able to enjoy this wonderful spot. I hope to live here for a few more years. It's going to be a tough one to leave if I ever do leave it.
There are many great sights in Michigan we just couldn't fit into our special.
Still, we hope our Great Lakes adventure in high definition gives you a new perspective on the beauty of our Great Lakes state. Thanks for watching.
You never get tired of seeing that sun come over the horizon. It's like the world's waking up again, and I love the water.
Great Lakes are one of nature's beautiful inventions. I feel grateful that we can live on these Great Lakes.
Yeah, I just like swimming and playing on the beach.
And just to look at God's creation and what He did. And really, there's no other place quite like this. Okay.
That end of the day in particular is when you just appreciate the sound of the waves and the sun and the breeze. The sunsets that we get all the time, you know, it makes you take a break at the end of the day. We appreciate that. It just gives you a peace.